Good afternoon, Poky Nation. It's time for the Poky Principal broadcast. All right, so before we get into our questions, I'm going to have you just take a few minutes or a minute to introduce yourself, what you teach, how long you've been teaching, that sort of thing, and then we'll go from there, okay?
Okay, so I'm Maygan Layson, and I teach biological sciences at Pocatello High School. So that's zoology, microbiology research, biology to 10th graders. I have taught botany and environmental science at Pocatello High. And this is the end of my 11th year of teaching, but I decided that teaching was probably for me when I was 5. So I told my dad I wanted to be a science teacher when I was 5. I was playing his electric guitar, and I stopped and said, I want to be a science teacher. And he goes, what? And then I just kept playing the guitar. I didn't even address his shock.
That's awesome. Were you even in school then?
I mean, I was going, my parents put me in like a like Montessori preschool kind of thing. And so
Okay.
I don't know. So I was doing some cool stuff with my mom, going with her to ISU, and they were doing all this crazy stuff, cutting chicken eggs open and watching them grow and like pulling parts out and adding them to the other chicken to see if it's a leg or an arm or an eyeball. And I could see those chickens grow. And I was like, wow, this is what I want to do with my life.
That's awesome. No ballerinas, no queens, no princesses, straight to the scientist.
Yeah, I considered astronaut for a little bit, but in 2nd grade when I did my whole like about me and I put astronaut, the kids started calling me astrosnot. And then in 4th grade, the Space Shuttle Challenger blew up and I was like, oh, definitely not for me.
I'm out. 1, I'm getting bullied, and 2, I'm going to die. No longer, that's my career.
Right. So then I went back to teaching.
Well, lucky for us. That was good. Good intervention there, people.
Yeah.
All right. What was the most embarrassing experience to happen thus far?
Oh, man. Okay, we'll use one for teaching. I was teaching the kids what a cubic centimeter looked like. And I had this little cubic centimeter, and all day I'd been saying, and here's my perfect cubic centimeter. And in 7th hour, I said, and here's my pubic centimeter.
And of course, high school kids caught right onto that.
Yeah, it was mortifying because at the time I was actually teaching in a very like religious community, and it was actually 7th graders, and they still go home and tell their parents everything. And so I was like, oh, this is it. This ends my career right here.
I remember one time I was teaching 2nd grade and I was trying to do some science, something. I don't remember what the lesson was. And I found this video that I didn't watch all the way through. And it had naked people. They were kind of cartoony, but they were naked. And my second graders were just rolling. And I thought they're going to go home and tell their parents, and I'm going to be in trouble. So I lectured them about, you guys need to be mature. And if you're not mature enough to handle this kind of stuff, then maybe we just won't do science. Because I was so worried about getting in trouble. But now I look back on it. It was, it was my first year teaching, and it was just like, oh, I should have just laughed it off and not worried about it. But,
Yeah. Well, I used to be a lot more serious than I am now. So.
Yeah, it's funny. The more life experience you get under your belt, the more you're just like, whatever.
Right.
All righty, Maygan. Well, thanks for being here. It was fun chatting with you and getting to know you a little bit more.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye, hon. Bye, everybody. All right. It's now time to share with you some famous Poky graduates. I'm going to give you some information about a famous Poky graduate, and at the end, I'm going to ask a question. The first 3 people to text me the correct answer win a prize. Today, we are presenting Edward Stevenson. Edward graduated from Pocatello High School, and while he was here, he worked as a costume designer for the drama department. Edward created his first costume for an operetta PHS was performing called Once in a Blue Moon. Edward must have really liked creating that costume because he went on to become one of Hollywood's premier clothing and costume designers. He spent over 30 years designing fashion for movies and television shows. He designed for many leading ladies such as Greta Garbo. Near the end of his career, he began working on a hit television show called I Love Lucy, starring Lucille Ball. Edward designed all of Lucy's clothing, both on and off the set. Some of his most famous clothes included the polka dot dresses Lucy used to wear. I love this story because it's clear where Edward developed his lifelong passion, Pocatello High School. Hey, do you know any famous Poky grads? Call, email, or text Mrs. Delana so we can learn more about them and possibly feature them in the future. Okay, now let's see who is really listening. Be one of the first 3 to text the correct answer to Mrs. Delanos and you will win a prize. Here's your question. What was the name of the operetta Edward designed his first costume for? All right, everybody, that's our show for today. Thanks for tuning in. Remember to follow the links in the comments below for the full interview of our celebrity. And remember, Poky Pride never dies. Roll Tribe.